We're going to get started here in just a minute. I hope everybody's having a great day. I'm doing pretty well. And nice meeting with all of you again. I hope everybody had a great week. Okay, tonight we are talking about the 5 mistakes that you're making reading sheet music. And we'll just get started here in a second. Let me say hello to all that are in attendance so far. Feel a burp coming on. Okay, Real Wednesday fan is still fighting with his washing machine. Sorry to hear about that. Barbara is here once again. Welcome out, Barbara. So happy you could join us. Yeah, it says July 29th, probably because I rescheduled it from before. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it. I could have made it on Sunday, but the lesson just wasn't ready in time. I'm still working on painting my house, so I've been putting a lot of effort into that. So if you've been wondering why I haven't been quite as active on social media and YouTube, although I've still been putting out at least one video a week, but if you've been wondering why I haven't been as active, that is why. And in September, I'm not sure whether it's going to be right away in September or like the second week in September, either first or second week, you're going to see more content from me actually than ever before, because I'm going to be moving more and more into full-time on YouTube. And we're going to see how that goes. It's going to go great. I know it's going to go great. All right, let's see. Jose Ramirez is here once again. Glad to have you back. I believe you're here back. Maybe it is your first time, but welcome. Happy for you to make it. Cecilia's back. Yes, summer will soon be over. No, don't remind me. Even though it's all the same to me because I have the same type of schedule, whether it's summer or not summer. Jordan, or Island, sorry, is here once again. Hello, Tim and fellow students. I'm here and ready. Cheryl's back once again. Hello, Cheryl. And Randy, of course. Happy to have you with us. Nikki Hoffman, awesome that you're here from Lady Lake, Florida. Salvador, finally back. Glad to have you back, Salvador. I think it has been a while since I've seen you. Let's see. Arturo, hi, Master. You don't have to call me Master, but hello. Glad to be with you. And, all right, we got Fuddy Duddy here from Bangor, Maine. Way north, but not cold, I'd imagine. Not today. Okay, we're going to get started here. Just give me less than a minute to start up the Facebook stream, and then we'll get going. Yeah, I'm feeling better. I was feeling a bit run down last week, but I am doing better. Okay, let's take a look at what we got. Exciting things on the way, by the way. I kind of mentioned them already, but I'll go in a little bit more detail once we get through the lesson. Okay, hold on. Okay, yeah, everybody just give me less than a minute or so. Okay, let's see if it's good to go. I don't know. Hold on. Okay, I don't know. Unfortunately, the Facebook stream doesn't look like it wants to run. So I'm going to have to just fix that later. We're just going to do it on YouTube today. If somebody could do me a favor, one of our students, if you could copy the link to this live stream and go over to the Piano Lessons on the Web Facebook page and post the link there, I would be very, very much appreciated if you could do that for us and the piano students on the web page as well, because it's not starting up on Facebook. All right. Yeah. All right. We're almost ready here. Let me just kind of remember what my intro was. And here we go. There are 5 mistakes I find students make all the time when reading sheet music, and I know for a fact that you're making some of them. How do I know that? I've been watching you. No, I'm just kidding. But they're very, very common to make these, and you don't want to make them. All right, mistake number 1 is... All right, let me get one thing ready here. Now, why does it do this now? That's so... All right, let me... Yeah, see? They changed the format of this program, but let me do it with something else. Here we go. There we go. Okay. Now we're ready for mistake number 1. Mistake number 1 that you're probably making is that you're not reading the notes from the bottom to the top consistently. You want to read them the same way each time for consistency's sake. But not only that, because that's actually how we read chords. Depending on what chord you have and what inversion it is, all depends on what note is in the bass on the bottom. All right, let's take a look, and I want to show you what I mean. Okay, so we have this minuet in G here, and when I play this first measure, this first beat particularly, let me actually get you into the keyboard here. Let me move that up. All right, here we go. Now we're ready. So I am reading these notes from the bottom, G, and then B and D, and then the D. I'm not, what I find a lot of students do is they don't really have any rhyme or reason as to what order they put them in. It's actually a lot easier to get confused if you don't do it the same way all the time. And you want to do it from the bottom to the top, because when you're reading chords, particularly this first chord here, I know that that's a G major chord in root position, mainly because the notes are stacked evenly, but because G is in the bass. So if I'm reading the notes G, B, and D, because I've been learning music theory, and hopefully you have been as well, that you will know right away, oh, hey, that's a G major chord, and it happens to be in first inversion. So much easier to do it from the bottom to the top. All right, let's get on to mistake number 2. Which is that you're not reading new sheet music often enough. What a lot of students do, which you should do to an extent, is what a lot of students do is they'll learn maybe a few pieces, anywhere between 1 and 3 pieces, maybe even more than that at a time. But what'll happen is they'll keep playing and learning the same piece for weeks and weeks and weeks, maybe even months. The problem with that is that after a while, because you're going to know the piece so well, you're going to be relying solely on your memory almost, and you're actually just not really actively looking at the notes on the page. You're really just kind of glazing over them, and your brain is filling in a lot of the blanks. So you need to be reading new music often. What skill have I talked about endlessly on this channel that will get you to do that? Well, that's called sight reading. So you want to be sight reading every single day, and we're going to talk a little bit more about sight reading in a second. But first, mistake number 3 is that you're not using music theory enough to your advantage. Let's take a look back at the minuet in G, and I'll show you what I mean. Okay, here's our minuet in G. Now, you can either read it all as individual notes, which will take forever, but if you know your music theory and knowledge, you can use it to your advantage. One of the things you're going to learn in music theory, probably one of the first things, is about key signatures. So I know right away that there's 1 sharp in this piece. I know that that's F sharp because I know my order of sharps, F, C, G, D, A, E, B. So I know that whenever I see an F in the piece, it will most likely be sharped unless there's a natural telling me otherwise. Some other music theory things you can do is identify any chords. I had mentioned before that there's a G major chord right in the opening here. So instead of going through each individual note and going, okay, there's a G, okay, there's a B, okay, there's a D, and there's a D up here, that takes too long. Now, when you're first starting out, you're going to have to do that. But once you can identify that that's a chord there, your brain can fill that in much, much easier. I also know that there's segments of scales going on here. So I can use that to figure out the notes a little bit faster. Intervals is another great thing. You know, here in the fourth measure, you have G, G, G. Right away, instead of actually reading all of those notes, I can tell that, like, at the end of this run here, that hits G. That's where my finger naturally lies. And I know that I'm going to jump an octave there. So it's just a bit more information to go by. You can read music a lot faster this way by looking for chords, looking for scale patterns, looking for key signatures, and looking for intervals, all things you're going to be learning in music theory. All right, let's talk about the next mistake. Okay, all right. Another common mistake I find students make all the time, and I know you're probably making it because I made it when I was first learning, is that you're neglecting to master learning the ledger lines. Sure, you've learned how to read the lines and spaces on the treble clef. You've learned how to read the lines and spaces on the bass clef. But those lines that go way up off the staff, have you really spent the time to memorize where those are, to really understand where they are, and especially in relation to other notes you have on the staff in terms of intervals and things like that? Well, chances are, you know, most students I find do not. In fact, they ignore them. So what happens, and it's mainly because in the pieces they play in the beginning, you're not going to find those notes as much. But as you get more advanced, you're going to see more and more of those notes up and down below the staff, those ledger lines. So please, please, please spend your time mastering those notes. I'm going to give you a little tip here on how to do that. All right, everybody, so just give me a second. And I'm going to get you to a website here. So if you go to musictheory.net, we've talked about this many times on the channel. You click on exercises, you go to note identification, and it's very important what you do next. See, you're probably pretty good at reading this note and all the notes on the staff. So what you want to do is you want to go over here, click on the gear, and you want to click on, first of all, whatever clef you're doing. So if you're doing both clefs, you're going to click grand staff, if you're that good. And actually what you want to do is they give you a range here. Actually, you know what I would do is I'd actually just do a treble clef first and then bass clef, because it only works this way, I just realized. So when you are doing this, you know, you can have the whole range selected, which is great, because then you'll get some notes in the staff. That'll give you practice there, and some notes outside the staff. If you want to practice just notes, you know, say below the staff, which is probably what you need to work on, you know, select the range to be this, where you have that C or the A below and then that E below. You can also have it swapped. It's the same thing. So then you'll only be working on to those notes. That one happens to be on the staff, so that's the bottom line. That's E. And then let's try to find the next one. C right away. So that one's going off into the ledger line. That one is A. Let's see what the next one is. And then that one's C. So as you can see, by selecting the range, it will allow you to practice just those ledger lines. Then when you're done with that, go all the way up, select the range all the way up. And like I said, if you still need practice with those notes in between, you select the entire range. So I think you get the idea. And then do the same thing with, you change your clef, and you do the exact same thing with the bass clef. And once you get the hang of that, then you probably want to do the grand staff and practice them all. So once again, if I was practicing the notes above the staff, I would select my range right there. So that's how I recommend you really spend the time to learn and practice those ledger lines. All right, let's take a look at the next mistake you're making. Okay, mistake number 5 that I find students make all the time is you're writing in too many of the notes. This is a lot more common with, those that are just starting out. But it is common also with people that are neglecting their ledger lines, because what I see a lot of adult students do, students who are further along, is I see them writing in the notes on those ledger lines. That's a mistake in general. Now, here's the thing. Should you never write in any notes ever? Well, not really. You can write in some notes. However, I would honestly not write in more than one note per line in the whole line. In fact, I would even do it less than that. I would only write in a note if it's a note you miss like over and over. You've even gone back and read it and you're just missing it. So you definitely then, want to maybe write that one in. But students rely on this too much. They write in, heaven forbid, all the notes. And then you're really getting lazy because you're not actively reading the music. Now, if you're a really young student and you're just starting out in the first couple weeks, you may have to do that. And in fact, I recommend it maybe the first week or two. But after that, get off writing in those notes. It's hurting you, it's hurting your progress, and it's slowing you down reading sheet music. Okay, I want to know, what are some of the mistakes do you find people make, or maybe yourself? What are some struggles that you had learning to read sheet music? Leave them in the comments. I would love to hear from you. Anybody that leaves a comment within the first 24 hours of me posting this video, I'll get back to you with some insights and knowledge, or just to thank you if it's just, a simple statement. So I would love to see what you have to say. Okay, let us, sorry about this, it looks strange, so let me get us back to where we were. Okay, let's take a look at what people, what some of our live stream students have to say. Jose Ramirez says, this is my first time. I am new to the world of music. Oh, nice. And I've been studying your videos daily. Excellent, Jose. Glad to hear it. I hope you've been finding them helpful, although I assume you have if you're here right now and you've been following me daily now. Arturo says, hi, Master. I think I read that one from earlier. Oh, yeah, okay, so I need to scroll down. Julio says, hey, Julio. Glad to have you with us. Everybody give a warm round of applause that Julio's here. Glad to have you with us once again. We got Fuddy Duddy says he's a good teacher. Thank you very much. We all come to see him each time he comes on. Jose says, yes, I've learned so much in a few days. I have been watching. Excellent. Glad to hear that. Yep, that's me. 6 weeks on that Mozart piece, says Real Ones It fan. Hey, that doesn't sound too long for a Mozart piece. The one that you probably posted in the group. Anybody that's interested, there's both a Facebook page, Piano Lessons on the Web.com, same as, the YouTube channel here, but there's also a private group or a closed group that you have to request to get entered into called Piano Students on the Web. And for the most part, it's for the more active members in our community. It's more of a close-knit community. However, I have been letting a lot more people into the group, mainly because I get a lot of requests to enter this group, and I can't remember everybody, especially since a lot of people's names are different than they are on Facebook and or YouTube. But so long as you follow the rules in that group, we're good. So take a look at that group, and then I will accept you into it, and hopefully keep you accepted so long as you don't try to sell us anything. That only I'm allowed to do that. But it makes sense since it's always related to what we're learning. Okay, Real as a Fan says, memorized until I can play it blind and even write the score from memory. All right, write the score from memory. I don't know if you have to get it like that, but, you probably would know it pretty well by then. Okay, let's see here. Barbara says, it's been over a year on Maple Leaf Rag. You know what? I learned Maple Leaf Rag at least the first few pages, and it took me months and months and months. So I wouldn't feel bad about that at all, especially if you're learning, the later parts of it. Just bought the Well-Tempered Clavier. Excellent. Glad to hear that. Both books, going to read them now before I forget how. That's excellent. That's going to really bring your piano playing to a next level. But those fugues, the preludes can be difficult too, but the fugues can really, really be a struggle. So, if you have any trouble with that, don't feel bad. You can always ask me a question in the Facebook group or hear about it. Kudos year is a long time to spend on anything. I agree. Hey, Tim, says the bird. Welcome back, the bird. So happy you could join us today. Welcome back to our classroom. I keep forgetting to do the intro in the beginning of the video now, where we're powering up our piano skills and all that. So I need to bring that back because I need to be more consistent on that. But Real Winslet fan says should be octaving or changing clef rather than using many ledger lines. Yeah, I find that pieces should not really use more than 3 ledger lines, 2 even. But yeah, anything after 3 ledger lines, they really should be using 8VA or 8VB for that. I love that site, says Jose Ramirez. You're probably talking about musictheory.net. So sorry if I'm late getting to questions. I always like to get through the lesson first and then the questions. Let's see. Barbara Farron is here. Glad to have you with us, although I thought you were here earlier as well. I'm just looking at Winslet fan says better late than never. Tenodo is decent, many features, but I still recommend Flash Note Derby. Okay, so check that out for learning staff notes. I just know that one on musictheory.net, I've used that for a long time, but yeah, you can check out Flash Note Derby, which I like that name. Randy says, ledger lines. Is there a staff notation to say shift up an octave? Like play the C5 and C6 octaves without having to do the ledger lines? Yeah, so I mentioned briefly before that they would use the term 8VA above the note. So say I have, the top line of the treble clef, which is this F here, and they actually wanted me to play the F above. Well, they would write it on the top note of the treble clef and write 8VA on it, and that would tell you to do it here. In general, they might actually write this as a ledger line. I have seen that many times. But anything above that, so say you wanted this F that you probably can't even see, they would write this one out and write 8VA above that. Now, 8VB tells you to go 1 octave the other way. However, I find what they do 99% of the time is they'll write 8VA, 8VA below the staff, and that also means to go below. So 8VA above the staff goes right, 8VA below goes below, even though it's supposed to be 8VB. So, but I won't make us too crazy today. All right, let's take a look here. Can't believe you haven't mentioned anything to do with key signatures. That trips me all the time. They're just not paying attention to the key signatures. Okay. So mistake number 6 is that students often do not pay attention to the key signatures as suggested by our wonderful student, Real Winslet fan. I agree with that. So we'll put that in. Okay, Barbara Farron says, yeah, I got a few measures. Okay, we're not in the key of C. Okay, so that's something she struggles with as well. Okay, scrolling down. Supa Ace says, hello, Tim. I've been teaching myself how to play the piano. Excellent. High school student. Currently 1 month in. Your videos really helped me get started. And now I'm going off an adult beginner book. So glad to hear that, Supa Ace. I love your name also, by the way, and glad that I could help you. And anybody else who's new today or at any time, feel free to come back. I always love to see new and returning students each time, and we've formulated such a great community together, and I want to keep that going. So always feel free to come back, and usually by your 2nd or 3rd or maybe 4th time, I'll definitely begin to remember who you are. Sharpez says, can you give us a link for the students group? Yeah, so let me get you a link for that. Let me do this really quick. Yeah, so let me get you a piano students on the web link. You know, what's funny is Andy, I see, in the Facebook group that Andy says, I bet 3 of them have to do with accidentals and key signatures. Wrong. Although we got 1 in because of your suggestion. Okay, I'm almost there, I promise. Okay, I think this will work. Okay, all right, link incoming. Here we go. Okay, hello all. Oh, Bernadine McQuitter is back here again. Love having you here, Bernadine. So happy you could join us. We got Bronze Knight here again. I think I said hello to you already, but I'm not sure. Glad to have you back with us. Okay, let's see what we got. Scrolling down back to where we were. Hey, Bernadine McQuitter, how you doing today? Glad to have you back in our classroom. Anybody have any other questions about what we talked about tonight? There may be some as I scroll down. Julio says, are there instances when the sheet music tells you to use half pedal? No, not really. I don't think there is a notation for that. Okay, Real One's a fan says, yes, 8 VA, no VA, brain fart. Ben Thomas, been watching your other videos, sitting at the keyboard right now, wondering what to practice. I'm an intermediate player, says Ben Thomas. All right, welcome first of all. I believe it's your first time here joining us. Everybody give Ben a warm welcome into our classroom. And anybody else that's new tonight. Cygnus Rock, I did not miss. I'll come back to your question here in a second. I just happened to glance over it, but I'll get back to you. Okay. What to practice as an intermediate player? Okay, so I have the perfect thing for you. Let me do this. Let me get you a link because I have a free ebook over on my website I want you to download. It is called the Piano Practice Guide. The Guide to Practicing Piano, Your Road to Success. All you got to do is put in your email, and then I'll email it to you. But let me just type this in, Piano Practice Guide. There you go. So sign up for that, Ben, and take a look through that ebook, and that should give you an outline of what you should be practicing as a beginner player, as an intermediate player, and an advanced player. And then if you have any other questions, you can Facebook me through the group or the page, and I'll be happy to help. Okay, we got Cygnus Rock says, if you're playing a piece in 12/8 at 60 beats per minute, would you play it at 3/4 at a different tempo? Oh man, you're making me do math. Yes, you would, right? Right? Wait, let me think about this for a second, because let me try to do this math here. I'm sure it's simple math, but okay, so if you have it at 12/8 at 60 beats per minute, and the 8th note is getting 1 beat, and so you're going to be going 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to look this up just to make sure I'm right, because I think, let's see. Let's see. How many beats per minute is 4/4? Tempo 4/4. So in 6/8, because it would still be a beat, right? Bump, 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 bump. Yeah, I want to say that they're the same, because a beat is a beat, and you'd have 60 of them in a minute. However, you would get through more measures of 4/4 than you would 6/8, because there's 8 beats instead of 4. So if anybody knows this, let me know in the comments. I want to say they're the same. It's just that you would get through more measures in 4/4. But would that actually make it faster? Or 6/8? No. You got 6. Yeah. Okay. 4/4, 6/8. Yeah, I don't know. Let's do this. And everybody just give me a second here. So I'm actually going to take an online metronome, see what happens. The only problem with these is that you don't set... Oh, I have to create an account for this. No thanks. I want to say that they're the same. That the beats will go by at the same length. So until somebody can... Best metronome, let's see. I don't know. And the metronome I had that's good at this is out of batteries. See, he doesn't even ask you for a... Yeah, I want to say the beats go by just as fast. I'm going to go with that. And if I'm wrong, I apologize, but I think I'm right on this. Beats is beats, says Real Windsor fan. I agree. I agree. I just wanted to make sure. 60 BPM and 60 BPM in every signature, surely. It used to be all sorts of weird things. Wait, surprised the Google calculator won't do this. Done. Thank you so much. You're very, very welcome. Hi to all you new folks, says Barbara. Glad that you have, everybody has welcomed you here, Ben, and anybody new here also. All right, anybody else have any other questions about what we talked about tonight? I guess I'll just kind of walk you through like what I'm thinking for the channel for the rest of what month are we in? August. And let's see. Jose Ramirez says it's not something you talked about tonight, but I've been having trouble recognizing scales when reading the staff. Okay. I always have to calculate each note. It takes forever. Do you have any advice? Yeah, I would learn the scales based on how many sharps or flats they have. So, you know, if you see a scale with 2 sharps in the scale, you know that's probably a D major scale. You know, if it has 4 sharps, you're probably talking about an E major scale. Could also be, you know, is what C sharp minor scale. So the thing I have to tell you to get around that problem is to actually just practice your scales on a regular basis and learn them all. What I recommend you do, at least for the major scales, is I'm going to give you a link here. But actually, if you go to YouTube, the best site on earth, and you type in, let's see, piano lessons on the web, and then scales. And let's see here. Okay, I have a whole playlist on playing scales. Let me grab this for you, and I will link it to you. All right. So yeah, just practice them and become familiar with them, and then you'll be able to identify them a lot better from there. You can also check out the music theory, the Circle of Fifths lesson that we did. So let me grab that for you also. Let's do this. Here it is. So you just type in Circle of Fifths. I actually show up third. Why not first? Jeez. So check this out as well. That'll get you used to practicing your key signatures a little bit more and becoming familiar with all the keys and how many sharps and flats they have. So check those out. Real One's a fan has lost his battle against his laundry because he says, oops, got to scoot again. Bye, Tim. Thanks for the stream. You're very, very welcome. Fighty Dice says, I agree. Beats is beats. And he spelled it differently. I love it. Okay, great. So while maybe some more questions are coming in, let me walk you through like what I'm thinking for August on the channel and update anybody in case you're either new tonight or you didn't see me talk about it earlier or before. So I've bought a house recently. I bought it like a week and a half ago, like a week ago, like a week and a half ago, let's say that. And so what I'm doing right now is I'm painting and doing some things to get it ready. I estimate that it's going to take 2, maybe 3 weeks to finish up, and then probably another week to move and get all the equipment there, get it reset up. And whenever you do anything with equipment, even if everything's configured the same, I estimate that there's probably going to be some kind of kinks that I'm going to have to work out just because it's technology, you know. Technology is both very awesome and very frustrating at the same time. So I estimate that we'll be up and running in the new studio probably the first week of September. So because I have a new house, I'm going to be moving all this stuff there into a room all on its own. Right now we're operating out in a basement. Actually, what I'm going to do, hopefully I remember to do this. I'm pretty sure I will because I want to make this video, is I'm going to actually show you, but only right before I'm about to move. I'm actually going to show you what the basement looks like, just because I think it's going to be interesting for you to really see, you know, where this has been taking place, at least the physical part on my end, over the last few years, actually, since we've been doing the live stream. So I really want to show you that, but you'll see that later on. You might even see that after I move, because what I'd like to do is do like a part of the video from here, kind of like showing you around the set, like you know, I'll take the curtain down and I'll show you everything, and then I'd like to show you then the second half of the video in the new studio so you can see the difference. It's going to be really awesome. It's going to be in its own like nice room. I'll probably have to get like some soundproofing paneling or sound diffusers, things like that, because there's probably going to be more echo. But anyway, I don't want to bore you with all that stuff. But be excited, because what this means for me is it's going to give me a better environment to work in. It's going to be easier to just like walk from my bedroom to the studio, which will be like, you know, right next door to it pretty much. And I'm going to be able to get a lot more work done. And so also what's happening is I also teach piano students locally. So I'm not teaching as many of those anymore. And actually, as students fall away from that, because people move, or, you know, their kids aren't interested anymore, or they get involved in some other activity, I'm not going to replace those students. Instead, what I'm going to do is, because I'm able to now, because of all of you really supporting me, is I'm going to move more and more into full-time on YouTube. So you're going to see a lot more content from me coming in the fall. I'm actually developing it right now. I'm developing a lot of lesson ideas for that, a lot of different series that I think you're really going to find helpful. Some are familiar, like, don't get me wrong, we're still going to do the live streams and things like that, so that part's familiar, but you're going to see some new things come along. I don't want to tell you too much about it because I want it to be a surprise, but based on like what I've really been learning about all of you students, I know that a lot of you are really going to like what I'm going to be putting out. I'm going to be putting out content a lot more often. I mean, like, maybe not every day, but probably, let's see, because I already do the live stream, so that's 2 days a week. And then I put out a lesson on Sunday or Saturday, so that's 3. So you're probably going to expect 5, maybe 6 times a week. So almost every day you're going to see a new piece of content. And if I get running on that and it goes really well, you'll see, you know, 7 days a week. But you're going to see, you know, probably at least 2 to 3 more videos per week. And it's going to be really awesome. I'm really excited about it because these ideas that I have, I've really been going through for a long time and kind of refining them behind the scenes. And I'm really excited to make these videos. These are going to be the best videos I've made yet. And I think you'll agree for the most part. So I'm really excited about that. So about a month. But anyway, the reason I'm telling you all of this is because for the next month until that happens, the live streams may be like off and on a bit. That's, you know, last week I had to miss because I had been working on the house so much that I really didn't have enough time to put everything together. This week I think we'll be able to have both. I'll let you know, and I'll update the calendar tomorrow on there. So if you're new also, over on my website, pianolessonsontheweb.com. Wait, let me do this. So pianolessonsontheweb.com is my website. I have over 20 courses there, by the way, that can help you learn a lot more about piano music. So if you like what you see over here on the channel, you're going to love what I have to offer over there. But the reason I'm telling you about this isn't for that right now. It's that there's a community tab at the top, or just go to pianolessonsontheweb.com/community. You can fill out this little form here to get an email reminder 30 minutes before we meet. So if you're interested in attending, regularly, I recommend you do that. But if you scroll down, there is a calendar of what we're talking about and when. And that's the calendar I'm talking about. I'm going to be updating this tomorrow. Right now it just says community Q&A all over it because it's kind of a placeholder. But just letting you know that I'll be updating that in the next day or two. So from that, you'll probably know whether we're meeting twice next week or just once. But I'm going to try to at least still do at least one live stream a week until we get to September. And then the good stuff's going to come out. The more regular content, and it's going to be better. These are really, really good lesson topics. Some of them I've been holding off on actually for this. But I know it's things that you're going to like. So stay tuned. Okay, Jose says we should throw a housewarming party. All right, if I could get you all there. Unfortunately, everybody lives in a different part of the world. So I don't think that'll be possible. But we can, what we can do is I can have like an opening live stream where maybe I do teach something, but maybe we'll just kind of I'll just kind of show you around the studio room. I'm not going to give you a house tour because I think that's kind of an issue in terms of security. I don't want you to know like the layout of my house and everything, but you will see different rooms in different videos. You're just not going to see how they're all going to be connected together. Luchingador is here. All right. I can play a lot of songs fine, but very few perfect. How can I master a song? Very good question here. So how to master a song that you've probably been learning for a little while. So to master a song, you really have to have a few things down beyond just the notes, right? Because you've probably been learning the notes. The tempo needs to be on point. To get your tempo on point, there's two things I basically recommend you do. One, practice with a metronome. We've talked about that many times. That's going to make sure that your tempo is really consistent. However, there's types of music where the tempo is supposed to fluctuate, rubato and things like that, and change just a little bit. So what I would do is the second part of this that's going to help you with that part is to look up recordings, professional recordings of people that are playing the piece that you're learning. Listen to it, kind of take some ideas from their performance, because not everybody's going to perform it the same way, but they're going to give you ideas. You're going to be like, oh, well, I kind of notice a pattern that, a lot of the professional players really slow down at this part, or they put more emphasis on this, put more emphasis on that. So, you want to practice with the metronome, listen to some recordings for the tempo. Also, practicing with the metronome, especially if you practice slowly, you might want to go back. Another thing to polish it up, actually, this is point number 2 overall, is to go back to slow practicing. So you've probably been practicing it at a tempo, and what you want to do is you want to play through a few times each time when you practice at half tempo, so half the speed. And what this is going to do is that this is going to really help you pick out more of the mistakes in your playing in terms of notes and probably rhythms as well, because you're going to realize playing it real slow, like, oh, hey, I had an extra beat in this measure. How did I do that? Did I hold something too long? Oh, I was supposed to have a sharp in this measure. I never realized that that sharp carried over before. Also, listening to recordings is going to help you with this as well, because not only are you going to be more and more familiar with how the song is supposed to sound, or the piece, I should say, but it's also going to allow you to listen for discrepancies. You're going to say, okay, in that, why does it sound different in that measure than when I play it? Well, there's probably a good reason. You're probably messing something up, or maybe they're messing something up. Nobody's perfect, but it'll train you to really look at those places. So that's what I recommend as well. With the metronome, getting the tempo in there, and then going through picking out the mistakes with slow practice. And then the next part of it, I would say, because that should take you pretty far. That should really help you polish up a lot of the places. What I would also do is go back section by section, maybe even line by line, and really work on your dynamics, right? And do this last. Get your tempo right, get all your notes right, and then look at the dynamics. The reason I suggest you do the dynamics, or really the fine details of the dynamics, last is because you really want to be concentrating on just the dynamics. You don't want to have to still be worrying about the notes, still be worrying about the rhythm, still be worrying about this or that. You want to have everything else in place so you can say, okay, I'm really going to dial it back here for the pianissimo. I'm really going to bring out the thunderous sforzandos and, things like that, and really, dial back the diminuendos. So then add in those finer details after you have everything else on point. So that's how I recommend you master the piece, or any piece. Randy says, congrats, or gotta run, Tim. Congrats on the house. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate that. It was a lot of hard work to get here, but we did it, and it'll be official in about a month. I'm really excited to move into this new studio, get into this new content. Jose Ramirez says that was a joke. Yeah, I knew it was a joke. I was kind of playing along. Not trying to case your house for break-in points. Yeah, I know you're not. I know you're not. But you never know who might be, so I'm not going to give you a house tour, but I will. We will do like a celebration thing in the studio room itself. Okay, Lichingador, I hope that was helpful for you. Anybody else have any questions before we go? We usually go until the hour, but if we run out of questions, we might end it early. I want to mention, go to pianolessonsontheweb.com. I haven't been plugging this as much recently. I'll probably pick it up maybe in the fall a little bit more, but go to pianolessonsontheweb.com because I have over 20 courses there designed to help you learn a lot more about piano and music. So if you're a beginner and you want an iron grip on those basic topics, or you've been following me for a while, you're an intermediate or getting into the advanced stuff, and you want to learn how to take your playing to that next level, you definitely want to check out my courses. They can really, really help you out. I guarantee it. Oh, and then just kind of as a thank you for coming by today, if you're interested in the courses, use code YouTube for 15% off any order of courses. Will you be teaching songwriting at some point? I have taught some songwriting before, but the answer to that is a yes. That's actually one of my new ideas that's coming out, is a series on songwriting. I mean, it's not going to take up like an entire, like a lot of lessons. It might be a series that's like maybe 5 lessons long. Actually, what it's going to be is I'm going to write a song, and I'm kind of bring you along with me to kind of have you learn by watching me. But if you want to learn how to write songs right now with the content I already have, let me get you a link or two. Okay, I recommend you take a look at these lessons. Let me get these for you. Okay, so the first lesson is how to write music using music theory. So check that one out. And then I have a bunch more here, so just give me a second. I have a whole playlist called the Songwriting Toolbox, which will kind of give you all the things you need to begin writing songs. So check that out. And then actually the first lesson out of those that I gave you that I want you to look at is this one. So let me get this here. It's actually your first music composition piece. So let me grab that and send it over to you guys. Okay. Think we got it. All right, everybody. Any other questions before we go. And then Luchingador, any more questions about mastering or perfecting a song? Okay, everybody. So I had a great evening teaching all of you again. I hope you all have a great week. We're going to meet again on Friday. I'm not entirely sure what the lesson is going to be. Like I said, check that calendar I told you about, pianolessonsontheweb.com/community, and that should take you to the right place. So everybody, have a great one. I'm really excited as to what's to come for the channel ahead. Like I said, August will be a little bit of a slow month, which is kind of fine because a lot of you I know are still on vacation, wrapping up summer. Oh my goodness, I can't believe I'm talking about wrapping up summer. But, here we are. But I shouldn't rush it. We got a month so left. Julio says this was very helpful. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. You're very, very welcome, Julio. All right, everybody, you have a great week, and I'll talk to you again on Friday. This has been you know who. Oh, yeah, I need to do an outro for the video when it is all done. So let me do that. I forgot on the last one, which is not good. Okay, here we go. Let me think about where to direct you after that. If you want a lot more helpful tips on how to read music faster, how to read music better than ever before, so you're just breezing through those pages, check out this playlist. You won't be sorry. So thanks, everybody. This has been Tim from Piano Lessons on the Web, and I'll see you in the next lesson. All right, everybody, have a great evening. I'll talk to you soon.